Hey guys, I know I'm a bit late. For some reason, YouTube is not letting me in with the initial link, which was a little weird. I usually have no issues, but today, for some reason, the link that was sent out um did not allow me to go live. So that's kind of the reason I am here. Um, a little later than usual. But we're still going to get right into it. If you guys don't get to catch the live, we will replay this in our community. So just keep that in mind. So let's get right into it. I think our lighting is pretty good here. This is better. So one of the things I want to talk about is auto refinance. So auto refinance is one of the topics that we want to be aware of, right? Because sometimes we have situations where, like, you know what, I want to refinance my car. My car is really expensive. I don't know what to do. What does this cost look like for me? So let's jump right into it. When does it make, I know our video was the top 3 mistakes to do when we refinance. So let's talk about the top 3 mistakes um of whether or not we should refinance or not. So one of the mistakes I see quite often is people will refinance their car when they're close to paying off their car. So if you have a 5-year loan and you are on your 4th year and you're like, I want to refinance my loan, the number one mistake I see people do is refinance their loan when they're already past that bell curve, and now they're actually paying more to principal than they are to interest. So in the beginning of every loan, you are paying more to interest than you are to principal, right? So that's how loans work. And then you see that and you're like, okay, you are you are um you are over, you are almost done paying that principal. Now you're actually paying the actual car, and now you're considering refinance. So when you are more than halfway in that loan, I don't recommend you to refinance your loan unless you have a plan for it, right? So unless you have a plan for your loan, it may not make sense to refinance that loan. Let me see if I find, so you can see the bell curve chart. Let me see if I have it right here. And usually you can tell because they'll give you like some type of amortization schedule when you do your loan. They disclose that information. It's called truth in lending. Like, they let you know, like, this is how much you're going to pay at the end of the loan, right? But if you are refinancing your loan, you have to be mindful of that. So let's say you are, like I said, 4 years in, do not refinance your loan if you can't. Now, if you're in a position financially that you have to do it to lower your payment, then do it, but you're extending the loan, and be aware that you're going to pay more for the vehicle. The second thing that I see people do that's a big mistake is they will try to, now, you can use your loan, your auto loan. There are certain banks, usually credit unions, that will allow you to take out equity, use your car as collateral from the loan, right? So you can take out a loan from a car for a loan for a car, and usually the interest rates tend to be better. But keep in mind, right, that if you're doing that, right now the car is at risk for, it no longer has equity, it's collateral, it has a lien on it, right? So keep that in mind. If you have a car that's free and clear, you don't have no debt on it, and you want to use it to pay off other debt, like, I find that a lot of times people will pay off debt with something else, and then they'll get back into debt with something else, right? So that may be another reason why people may use, that's called an auto equity loan. An auto equity loan they're not very common, but I actually will put below in the description some lenders that do it, it's not, like I said, it's not a very common loan. It is a niche type of loan. Um, and you can borrow a certain percentage, like Best Egg, for instance, offers the loan. You could take out some equity from your car. You owe the bank 10,000. They give an example: the car's worth 25,000, owned by you. The car, your vehicle's equity is 15,000, owed to the bank is 10. If your car is worth 25,000, you owe 10,000 on the auto loan, you'll have 15,000. The APR, the traditional loan, Best Egg vehicle equity loan is 18%. So to me, the interest rate is still a bit high, right? So the interest rate is a bit high still. So keep that in mind when you are looking at these loans, because they still tend to have really high interest rates, and you may not need that, may not be what you need right now. And then the third mistake that I see people do with their auto loans or auto refinance loans is, if you have a loan, just keep in mind right now what those payments look like, right? So it's easy to say, hey, you know what? I can refinance. Like, I see people getting into vehicles and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna refinance it when the interest rate comes down. Well, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I don't foresee that happening, at least extensively, that it will make sense within a 4 to 5 year time frame for you to make a purchase of something to then refinance it and be like, I don't know if I should refinance this. Like, I don't know if the auto loan is going to make sense at that point. Like, I just don't think that that will be the cost of that, if that makes sense. So just keep that in mind when it comes to your auto loan, that a lot of people are buying a car, or they even bought a car with the expectation that they can refinance the loan. But if the car doesn't have equity, many places may not let you refinance that vehicle. So that is, keep that in mind when you're making a purchase more than the actual auto refinance. Um, Now, let's talk about the good about refinancing your car. So, if you're in a situation where you're like, you know what, I I need the break to pay a little less on my loan every single month. I need that break. Well, if you need that break, that is a place you can go to, where even if you're paying a longer period of time, which I don't recommend. Sometimes, if you can avoid that, I would highly avoid that. But I also don't, I'm a credit person first, right? There's a credit and there's a finance balance, right? A lot of people will say, no, don't do it, don't do it. But what I find is that people wait till the very end, and when they know they can no longer afford it, and now they have a repossession. And as we all know, voluntary or involuntary, whether you go and return the vehicle yourself, it's still considered a repossession. It's still considered something negative on your credit report. So I always recommend people to, hey, if you are in a position that you're like, I want to make sure that I don't have any issues. And I want to make sure that if you know that you're about to go through a strenuous time, make sure that you are planning that out. So if you have in interest in there, or there's debt in there somewhere, or something's happening, make sure you have some wiggle room, right? We need some wiggle room to make sure that we're good. So don't wait till the very end, till you see yourself against the wall. Plan ahead. I'm going to attach some links on there, so that you can think, if you're thinking of refinancing your auto loan, because it's a high interest rate, your credit may have been getting better. If your credit is getting better, if you've been working with AltoCredit to get your credit right, right? And you see yourself like, I bought a car a few years ago, and now the interest rate is a little lower, and I'm still haven't made a dent. I saw somebody who bought a Tahoe. They still hadn't made a dent. And if they're working on their credit, they may say, you know what? I'm going to refinance. That is the ideal person that should be refinancing, right? Because they've been working on their credit. They bought a vehicle that maybe they shouldn't have, but they bought it, right? Now they're in a place where they're like, you know what, I'm going to refinance. If you're in a place where you're like, you know what, I have to lower my payment. This is killing me. I'm going to lose my vehicle. I don't have a way out of it. What do I do? Refinance it, right? If you can afford that payment. If it makes it easier, do it. Um, if you're in a place where, you're almost done with the loan and you can hold off and they're just offering you a better interest rate, do not refinance your loan, because it will restart the amortization schedule on that new loan. Okay. So they're going to offer you the refinance, of course, because guess what? If you're almost done with them making the principal, they make the principal in the front, right? There's the bell curve towards the middle of the loan, right? This is the beginning and this is the end of the loan. Towards the middle of the loan, right? The interest switches, right? Now you're paying more towards principal at the end of that loan, right? So what do? They remarket to you, do you want to refinance your car, right? And then guess what happens? You refinance your car. Now you're at the middle of the loan, right? You're over here. You're almost at the end, right? And now it's like, oh, restart. And now you have the loan again. And now you're paying the interest in the beginning, and it goes up that way. So this is why it's so important that if you're towards the end of the loan, you may pay like triple, quadruple, depending on the interest rate on your auto loan, because your restart is literally like opening a new account, a new auto loan, right? If you're in a position where you can afford, if you're really in that state, just consider like maybe selling the vehicle or getting something smaller, downgrading the vehicle. But the moment, if you're getting this dealership, if you got this vehicle through a dealership and you return the car to a dealership and you say, I can no longer pay this car, that is considered a repossession. It doesn't matter if you did it in good faith. It doesn't matter if it never came out of your parking space. It's still considered a repossession. I'm going to attach certain links. I'm going to attach this video to the community. I know this isn't the link that was sent to everybody, but I will be sending this link out to everybody, and I will be editing it onto the community. If you guys have any questions or concerns about it, please, please, please let me know. I am here to assist. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.